The Steam Next Fest is a celebration of upcoming games, though the Next Fest doesn't technically begin until next week. That said, some developers have released their demos a little earlier, and today I want to explore some Steam Next Fest demos that have been released a little earlier. Games that are presumably part of the Next Fest experience. Find a game I really like. But if you like this video or any other video I've made, please like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. And in the meantime, why don't you check out Off the Console? It's a brand new podcast created by me, Gardner Bryant, and Games Revealed, with guest stars occasionally. And we're doing a special live episode on Friday, June the 6th in preparation for the Summer Games Fest. Check it out. The first demo on this list is, of course, Stellar Blade. Now, I will say this, Stellar Blade has become a victim of culture warring from both sides. One side saying they've never seen gameplay before, even though you could easily look that up on YouTube, and the other side just talking about Eve's ass, which is absolutely criminal because the soundtrack is really good in this game. Like, I really like the soundtrack. As for the game itself, though, the game runs at a solid upper 50 to 60 FPS. And it defaults to a Steam Deck preset, which is awesome. As for the combat itself, it's kind of a weird in-between. If I had to describe action gameplay between like a Dark Souls and like a Devil May Cry, I would say this game kind of sits somewhere in the middle. There is some Souls-like influence, which is undeniable, but the combat does open up quite a bit and you get to learn new combo strings as well. And yes, there's a little training area where you can practice your combo strings as well. The game runs pretty well, and honestly it looks pretty decent being low graphics and everything. I was vaguely interested in Stellar Blade, but I'm glad I waited for the PC version instead. I suppose we do have to talk about Denuvo though, because the game itself will have Denuvo, and heck, the demo itself has Denuvo as well. Now, you don't always have to be online, but every now and then Denuvo will phone home to see if it can connect to the internet, and if you actually, purchase the game. This may not be an issue to those of you that have access to a constant internet connection, but for those of you, let's say for example, on a military base or on a boat, you may not have constant internet access. It may not be an issue now, but it will certainly be an issue within like a couple of weeks or even like a month or so. I will say though, the demo does run quite well in spite of having Denuvo, and so I'm going to assume the main game will run the same way as well. Except for maybe super, graphically demanding parts. In Flickshock Rogues, you shoot your characters across the map, killing enemies in various different ways. How though? It really depends on your characters. In this current playthrough, I have two characters. One that inflicts damage after you make a complete stop, and another that deals damage by ramming into enemies. And of course, there are different characters with different win conditions as well. Honestly, I'd never heard of this game before, but it was such a blast to play. Adjusting your aim and power correctly and getting some sick kills with it is insane, and it feels really nice. And of course, you have your bevy of roguelike upgrades as well. Some say they're tired of roguelikes, heck, sometimes I've said that as well. But innovative roguelikes like this one deserve to exist. Before searching for demos, I hadn't heard of this game, but now that I have, I'm glad I have, and honestly man, I want to get the full game when it comes out. As for whether or not it runs well on Steam Deck, the answer is pretty obvious. Yes, it does. And it does quite nicely too, I might add. And yes, it plays really well with a controller. Hunter x Nen Impact. It's a tag team fighter where you select 3 and your opponent select 3 as well. And let me tell you, this game is pretty awesome. Nen Impact is a rare oddity. It's a game that's designed controller first. It's a 7-button fighter, which means fight sticks may not necessarily be the best way to play this game. At least not until people actually get used to it. And if you look online, there are crazy combos that people have labbed up. I do wish the demo had online play, but I mean, it is a demo. Of course it doesn't have online play. Admittedly, I'm not super good at tag fighters, so I'm not doing so hot against the CPU here. But hey, it's whatever I guess. I don't know why, but Leo Rio is super bust in this game. The best way to trigger a Hunter x Hunter fan is to call it Hunter x Hunter, because the X is supposed to be silent. Anyways, this game runs on Steam Deck quite well, like really well. Holton's a survival horror that switches between two different perspectives, a sort of top-down isometric horror game, and a third-person shooter. I think this perspective changing is actually really cool, and it does a lot for the game itself. This game has strategic dismemberment, meaning you can choose to shoot the legs to keep them from following you, or shoot their arms to keep them from attacking you, stuff like that. And with third-person aiming, it becomes a lot easier. That said, this is survival horror, so you shouldn't expect to be able to run and gun through the entire game. You gotta conserve your ammo and, just choose when to fight, because that's what's important. As for performance, yes, the game does look a little more stilted, and it doesn't look like a smooth 60 FPS, but the game's running at 60 FPS. The animation style is a deliberate choice by the developer after all. Stargate Stargazer is a 4-button rhythm game, 1 button for each direction. As you may have guessed, you can use both the D-pad and the face buttons for this, and you'll certainly need to use both. Especially rapid notes, you're going to have to alternate between the D-pad and your face button of choice. I will say it is going to take a little bit of time for me to get used to this because, well, it's a very different rhythm game compared to some of the other ones I've played. That said, a lot of Korean rhythm games are online only, so there's a good chance that this one will also be online only as well when it fully releases. That said, if it is always online, then it could pose an issue for offline play, especially if you're playing this portably on like a Steam Deck. As for Steam Deck performance, it runs at a solid 60 FPS. I mean, rhythm games have to run at a solid 60, otherwise it's straight up unplayable. Metal Eden is a roguelike boomer shooter, and I hate to say it, but this game does not run that well on Steam Deck. It runs just slightly below 30 FPS most of the time. Unfortunately, at the lower frame rate, it's just not that fun on the Steam Deck. I can see this game being a lot more fun and frantic on PC with a keyboard and mouse, but we're here to test out games on the Steam Deck, not on my gaming PC. I will continue playing this, but it'll have to be played on my main PC. It's not a great fit for the Steam Deck. So yes, personal recommendation, if you want to try out this demo, you should do so on a high-powered gaming PC. Not your Steam Deck. Could the full game run better? I mean, maybe. No guarantees though. Unbeatable is a rhythm adventure game. If you're wondering why this game looks familiar, it's because there's a prequel on Steam. Well, a prequel of sorts. Unbeatable White Label. White Label, of course, primarily focusing on the rhythm game aspects, but this is a story-based rhythm game. I do quite like how the game looks. The game looks chef's kiss. And the game runs really well on Steam Deck, of course it does. That said, I do have a number of rhythm game controllers, and I'm curious to see how those will interact with this game, given that you have to actually move and stuff as well. Well, when you're not doing the rhythm game portion, I mean. I don't want to say it's like an RPG, but I mean, it might be like an RPG. Definitely one of the coolest demos I've tried out is for a game called Jump Ship. If I had to describe this game, it's kind of like FTL mixed with an FPS and all-in multiplayer. On top of that though, you do have to manage your ship, and this is where the multiplayer aspect comes into play. There are a lot of things you have to do with a ship. A fair bit of busy work, like piloting the ship, or perhaps repairing the ship manually. There's a lot you have to do, and it's highly recommended that you play this multiplayer. It's almost like FTL in that regard. You have a crew, and then you have to manage your crew and have them take on different roles. Except this time, instead of controlling all of your crewmates, you have all of your friends taking control. You can certainly play this game solo, but it is best played with friends, so find some friends to play with. Invite your friends to play this demo as well. The demo has no matchmaking, and I haven't heard any plans of this game getting matchmaking. So I will tell the devs this, they should implement matchmaking. It doesn't really matter if a matchmaking party isn't as coordinated as a group of actual friends. What matters is they get to experience the game how it should be, with multiple people on the ship instead of just themselves and their buddy companion. As for Steam Deck performance, as long as you lower the graphical details and enable FSR, it should be okay. It runs a little above 30 FPS, but it's not super solid. And I can imagine more hectic battles in the future will affect frame rate negatively, so do keep that in mind. Ratatan is a game inspired by the likes of Sony's old Patapon series. And yes, there are a ton of similarities, like controlling your troops via issued commands. And yes, those commands come in the form of different beats, but it's not exactly one-to-one. For starters, you control a hero unit and you can move them freely with the left analog stick. Definitely the biggest difference is that this is actually a roguelike. This is in stark contrast to the mission-based structure of Patapon. Yeah, it's similar, but it's very different. Regardless though, Ratatan's been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun trying to keep in rhythm. Then again, I sort of have been binging rhythm games, so yeah. And yes, like any good rhythm game should, this runs pretty well on Steam Deck. But do yourself a favor and get a good pair of wired IEMs. Blaze of Storm is a shmup I tried out, and the demo was pretty alright, I guess. I mean, if I had to be honest, there really isn't that much that makes this stick out compared to most other shmups I've played. And I've played a lot of shmups. The scoring system may warrant investigation, but honestly, it's okay at best. Maybe the final game will improve, and maybe the final game will be a lot better. As for performance on the Steam Deck, as per usual, you want to run these games at 60 FPS, and thankfully they do. And while I myself may not be super into the demo myself, there's a good chance that you might be. And I mean, it's a free demo. There's no harm in trying it out, right? And this is by far the most whack game on this list. Dungeon Legend Party. For starters, there are a bunch of licensed characters that I'm pretty sure the developer does not have access to, like Bocce, otherwise known as Guitar Hero in this game. It's hilarious. And it's not just her, it's a whole cast of Shonen Jump and, other popular anime characters. Like, you have Goku here, named Sun Wukong, which I guess isn't technically inaccurate, but like, come on, dude. Of course, different characters have different starting abilities and some really unique passives. It's a whack mishmash of like different IPs, different assets, and I'm pretty sure this game isn't allowed to exist. It shouldn't be allowed to exist. Was this game fun? Sort of. I didn't really know what I was doing most of the time. The translations were not great, and a lot of the game mechanics aren't explained properly. As for performance on the Steam Deck, yes, this monstrosity runs pretty well on Steam Deck. Yeah, it will start to chug when more enemies pop up, but honestly, there's an enemy limit, and if you hit the enemy limit, you lose the round. This was merely a taste of demos you can try out during the Next Fest next week. That said, many demos that are planned to be part of the Next Fest are not available as of the making of this video, but they certainly will in a couple of days. But as a fair warning, not all developers keep their demos up past the Next Fest. So if you're eyeing a specific game and you want to try the demo, then the Next Fest is your best opportunity to do so. Are you playing any other games? Drop all of those games and join the Next Fest right now. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos. And if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.